G'day, I'm Sean McKellar from MotoringBox.com, and today I'm here to try and answer an age-old question. Can you polish a turd? That is, with enough time and effort, can you turn a piece of shit into a sparkling diamond? Let's find out. The car we'll be polishing is my 2001 Ford AU Fairmont Ghia. Not only was it the cheapest AU Fairmont available on the market, but it was also one of the roughest and dirtiest examples I've ever laid eyes on. With its fair share of scratches, scuffs, and covered in more grime than a B&S Ball attendee. In the near future I'll be doing a full video on this car, but for now the mission is simple. We're going to give it a once-over with a clean and polish, spend bugger all money in the process, and hopefully give this fair dinkum Aussie battler a new lease of life. So let's not beat around the bush and get straight into it. Back in the garage we can really get a closer look at the condition that this car's in. The silver turd obviously hasn't been polished for a few years and has layers of road grime and dirt baked onto the paint. But the saving grace here is that the paint underneath doesn't look too bad. So if we're able to get rid of the grime and give the car a polish, it should look pretty good. So this is our chance to show it a bit of attention and nurse it back to its former glory. To begin with, I'm going to remove some of this car's optional accessories, such as the bonnet protector and headlight protectors. These items do a great job of protecting your car's paintwork and headlights, but they also have a habit of trapping dust and dirt underneath them. As you can see, this headlight protector is actually broken, so it's coming off the car and going straight in the bin. Now that the accessories have been removed, I'm going to give the car a thorough wash to try and clear off as much muck and grime as possible. After washing the car, you can now dry it using a microfiber cloth or simply wait for it to dry by itself. Now, unless you're familiar with detailing cars, you probably won't know about this next step. This product is called Surface Detailing Clay, or clay bar for short. And what you do with it is basically rub it over the panels of your car and it picks up any contaminants which are stuck to the paint. It's easy to use and can be bought off eBay for about $5 or $10. I'm going to run some tape down the middle of the bonnet. The left side of the bonnet has been washed, and the right side has been washed, dried, and we're now going to hit it with the clay bar. Using the clay bar is actually really simple. Refill your bucket with water and the car washing solution of your choice, and spread some of the soapy water across the panel. Grab the clay bar and start rubbing it across the surface of the panel. I'm going to hold a microphone up close to the clay so you can hear what it should sound like when the panel is clean. Now let's compare that to a part of the panel which hasn't been clay barred yet. You can actually hear the roughness and it almost sounds like you're using sandpaper. And once you're finished, you can wipe the panel down using a microfiber cloth. If you've done it correctly, the panel should now feel silky smooth to the touch. And it's now the perfect time to apply some polish. Most polishers will come with their own hand applicator, which you can use to apply the polish to the paint. And this is about as far as I got before I went and bought a polishing attachment for my drill. This makes the job a hell of a lot easier and you'll end up with a much better result. You want to go over all areas of the panel with an equal amount of polishing. And when you're finished, you can wipe off the residue using a damp microfiber cloth. At this point, I thought I'd remove the tape and see if I could spot the difference between the polished and unpolished sides of the panel. Under the lights here in the garage, I initially couldn't see the difference until I spotted a faint line in the reflection of the lighting. And you can actually see a clear difference here in the reflection of the fluoro roof light. The right side is clearer and more defined, while the left looks a little bit hazy and a bit more blurry. I can also demonstrate the difference in smoothness by putting this bottle on the left side of the bonnet and then comparing what happens when you put it on the right. On the left side it goes almost nowhere, but on the right it starts sliding, so it appears as if we're getting good results. So it's now time to go over the rest of the car with the clay bar, making sure that you apply soapy water to the panel before you start going over it with the clay. Because clay bars are great at removing contaminants from paint, you'll also find that they work on things like bug splatters or weird stains like this one. In this situation, I had to go over this stain quite a few times before it lifted. After you've gone over the entire car with the clay bar, you can now get the drill and start polishing every single panel. Now, one thing to mention here is that I also polished the windscreen and side windows. This is a really great way to remove any hard watermarks which might be stuck on the glass. Once you've finished polishing, take a quick look over your car to make sure you haven't missed any areas of the panels. Remembering that you can pretty much polish any hard surface of the car so long as it isn't plastic or rubber. Once you're happy, you can now grab your damp microfiber cloth and start buffing off all of the residue. I prefer to do this by hand, but you can also buy a buffing attachment for your drill to get rid of it. Make sure you go over all of the panels thoroughly to ensure you've gotten every single little bit of residue off. This is also a great opportunity to have a look at the panel and see if there are any spots which need additional polishing. With the paintwork polishing complete, we can now move on to the wheels and tyres. I'm going to be using some Meguiar's Ultimate Wheel Cleaner which I had lying around, but you can also use your regular car wash solution and a sponge. With a product such as this one, it's important to spray it onto the wheel and then let it work for a couple of minutes, as the chemicals tend to loosen the dirt a little bit and make the cleaning process that much easier. After you've let it sit, you can now come back with a brush or a sponge and start clearing off all of the crap sitting on your wheels. Make sure you wash the inside of all of the spokes, and if the tyres are dirty, make sure you give them a scrub as well, because there's no point in having clean wheels if your tyres look like shit. Now's an excellent time to hose the wheel off and see how it looks. If they're as dirty as the wheels on the Silver Turd, there are probably going to be a few areas which you may have missed, so you can go back with a brush or a sponge and fix those areas up. After you've cleaned all 4 wheels, we can now take a step back and have a look at the results. Guys, I know it's an AU Falcon, but take a look at this thing. It looks amazing. I mean, I was impressed enough with the results back in the garage, but it's not until I got it out here into the sun that I can truly appreciate what we've been able to achieve here. It looks incredible. The paint went from being sort of a shit grey to this incredible silver metallic. I can see now why Ford calls this colour liquid silver. I wasn't a fan before, but I tell you what, I am now. Now, of course, there are some imperfections in the paint, which a polish is simply not going to remove. But that's something we can look at fixing in a future video, so stay tuned. So, was I successful in polishing a turd into a diamond? Or did I just sort of end up with a shinier turd? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.